Hello, this is Susie at Unplug, and welcome to the Unplug Podcast, Unplug app, Unplug all things. And today I'm so excited because I am bringing a special guest here with you. Bob Roth is not only a New York Times best-selling author, he's the head of the David Lynch Foundation, and he is the go-to celebrity teacher for Transcendental Meditation, and also has taught almost all of my friends TM. The reason why Bob asked me, how did my name come up? We met at the Milken Conference several years back. What happened was someone from my studio said that they don't use the Unplug app because they meditate with TM. And they've been using their own personal mantra forever. And I said, wow, I wish we could do a BYOM, bring your own mantra to the Unplug app. So you could do the other things like see the quote of the day or listen to the question of the day or journal prompt and then have that count. So I actually added a new section into the app called BYOM, bring your own mantra. And then I realized like TM people really like to be TM people. So I created a TM. So basically I say, if you have a TM mantra, close your eyes and just bring your own mantra. Okay, open them and now check that box.
Great. Perfect.
So Bob, we have so many meditators and I get asked probably once a month, what's the difference between transcendental meditation and all other meditations? And that's just going to be one of my questions, but I have another one too, which is I want to hear your story. I want to hear how you started and where you are. I like the whole thing. So maybe we answer that question first and then we get into the story.
So I was a 18-year-old kid. First of all, this will be short, but I grew up in a very political family in the 50s and 60s in San Francisco Bay Area, Marin County. And I worked for Senator Bobby Kennedy Sr. When he was running for president to get the Democratic nomination. I was really into politics. Thought you could change the world. I saw him speak in San Francisco on June 1st, 1968 to 2,000 people. I didn't look around the room and say Republicans and Democrats. I looked around the room and thought, 2,000 people, we could change the world. And then 4 days later, I was watching TV when he was assassinated. And Suze, that had, 17-year-old kid, a devastating effect on me. I didn't even know really John Kennedy had died, but I was 12. And so I went to Berkeley, UC Berkeley, in the fall of 1968 with the idea, and I'm going to get to meditation, but I'm giving you the context.
Take your time.
With the idea, huh?
I said, take your time.
With the idea of going to law school and becoming a U.S. senator like Bobby Kennedy, change the world. I didn't want to be president, but I thought politics was the way on a scalable level that you could address inequities and give more people access to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So I'm 1 month at Berkeley in 68, and all hell is breaking loose. And I was still 17 or 18. And I was, political institution, all the institutions were just dissolving. And I was confused. But I wasn't into drugs. I wasn't into political extreme stuff. I wasn't into I was just this kid who wanted to make a better world and stressed out of my mind. And although I didn't know it, and there was one guy I knew who was older than me I liked being around him. Turned out he was doing transcendental meditation, which was not a word in my vocabulary. And I said, I don't believe in that stuff. This is early on, 69. And he held up a pen and he dropped the pen into his other hand and he said, you don't have to believe in gravity for the pen to fall. You don't have to believe in meditation properly understood and practiced for it to work. So I said, all right, I'll give it 5 minutes or 2 minutes. If I don't like it with the teacher, if I get spooked, I'm walking out. And Suze, it was an amazing experience I never had an experience of that. I tried drugs when I was, earlier, younger, but it was deep and expansive and myself and familiar and different and out of control and in control. And I remember thinking afterwards, because I'd wanted to get into education, oh, maybe this is a tool that I could teach those inner city school kids to help them navigate a tough life. And that was June 28th, 1969. And now 55 years later, almost, I run a foundation and we brought it to 1 million kids for free. And we brought it to actually 1.5 million kids and veterans and women survivors of domestic violence. So it resonated with me. The ease of it, the naturalness of it, the fact that I didn't have to buy into a shtick. My dad was a doctor and a scientist, and so I have that. My mom was this teacher, an open-hearted school teacher and lovely person. My dad was, so I have both sides.
Wow. Who is your teacher?
My teacher was a woman named Sylvia Schmidt, who taught me to meditate. I haven't talked to her in a long time. And I don't know if you know, but when you learn TM, it's a very simple thing. It takes about an hour a day over 4 days, and a teacher gives you a mantra, and then you got it. Then you got it. You're on your own. I mean, there's follow-up if you want it, support, but you're on your own.
So speaking of which,
Is that too long of an answer? Was that
no, it was absolutely perfect.
Okay.
So speaking of which, can you explain the difference between, and we get this question a lot, transcendental meditation and Vedic meditation in terms of like the process of it? So in TM, do you bring flowers and anything to the
There's something called, there's a ceremony of gratitude, a traditional cultural, like TM comes from a 10,000 or 6,000-year-old indigenous line of teachers. It's not, as you know, not a religion, and but it's a tradition of wisdom tradition. And part of that, when you learn to meditate, the teacher acknowledges the teachers that have come before with a simple ceremony of thanksgiving. And so that is done in recognition and honor of all the teachers that have come before. It's a reminder to me every time I teach, it ain't my shtick. This isn't my gig. This has been going on for a long time. And when I teach a person to meditate, they're learning the real deal. They're learning something that hasn't been made better by me. I mean, I can make it better by the way I explain it, but the practice itself is so exquisitely elegant and simple. Yeah. So anyway, yes, there is that. And the difference, I know Tommy Knowles. I grew up with him in the TM organization. We were both young TM teachers. And I don't know what he teaches. I can't pass judgment on it. I can only go from my own experience. When people come and I teach them TM after I find out later that they had learned Vedic meditation, and the sort of the thing that I hear is, oh, that was a little, but importantly, simpler, better to understand. I think our teacher training course is more rigorous, maybe, but I think that's the thing. I've talked to people who love it, but I've also, if anything, I would say, well, it always comes to it. If a person's learned Vedic meditation and they love it, great. If they've learned Vedic meditation they have a question, I wonder if, we were talking about this before we went on the podcast, try it. Try it. I don't think it should be an either or. Oh gosh, I do mindfulness, I can't do this, or I do Vipassana. I don't think it's that narrow. I think it's a yes and. Yes, I do this and I'm going to try that.
I would love for you to describe the process of, let's say I come to you and I want to get my transcendental meditation mantra. Can you explain what the process is like?
By the way, you're a wonderful interviewer.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very kind quality to you. Just saying.
That.
Disarmingly so. You caught me. Well, first it's explained. There's on the David Lynch Foundation website or TM, there's an explanation of it. And then if you decide you want to learn and you're told about the mantra and you're told how TM differs from other forms of meditation and the research and what's involved. And then when you want to learn it, it's taught over 4 consecutive days, about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes each day with a trained teacher, certified teacher. The first day, all 4 days can be in person, or the first day is always in person, and the other 3 days could be with an app, digital remote. You can do it at home. And on the first day, you are given by your teacher a mantra, which is a word or a sound in TM that has no meaning associated with it. Oh, I should say, I also don't know what mantras are used with Vedic meditation. I mean, I'm not privy to it, but you're given
Mhm.
a mantra, and then on the first day, and you're taught how to use it properly. And then that first day, you go home transcending, and we can talk about that later. But you go home meditating. Oh,
Mhm.
wow! Like after my first, wow, nothing flashy, but just that different. That's different. Never had that or not had that experience before. And then you come back for 3 consecutive days afterwards for about an hour and meditate with your teacher, and you get to ask questions about each day's experience. First day is, how do I know if I'm doing this thing correctly? What if I have an itch? What if the phone rings? What do I do with all these thoughts? Then the second day, coming back, you look into sort of what is the neurophysiology of stress release? What does science say during meditation TM, your body gains this deep state of rest, in many regards deeper than sleep. And so how does the body react to that? Well, the body heals itself. The body knows that stress is going to kill. We have a built-in survival mechanism. The brain does and the body does. So what are the changes that take place in the body during meditation and after meditation for getting rid of stress? And then the third and final day is sort of a look at higher states of consciousness, enlightenment, or if those words spook you out, optimizing brain functioning. It's all this, it's just vocabulary. But
Mhm.
what is the effect, the cumulative effect of meditating twice a day over days, weeks, months, years? And what does science say? And then once you've learned it, then for the rest of your life, you have a follow-up program, free follow-up program. I do twice a day by Zoom now for 5 years. I lead a group meditation in the morning and in the afternoon. There's like 10,000 people are on that, and that's free to a person. You have access to that. Actually, anybody has access to that. That's free to anybody. So that's what's involved in learning.
When you say you lead a meditation, I know, bring your own mantra. We have our
Yeah, it's
mantra
that.
from TM.
Right.
You basically say, close your eyes and you just
I,
don't
I
speak for
talk for
20
five.
minutes.
I talk for 5 or 6 minutes about, I call it the genius of nature. There's an interesting thing. There's a whole new uh, focus in positive psychology for the experience of awe, AWE, that even when you're talking about therapy and a lot of these meditation techniques where you're focused on following your thought or watching your breath or just in analysis, it's point value. But there's research that shows that human beings need awe.
Mhm.
We're not no longer living in nature where, in the 1,000 years ago, if you looked up in the night sky, it's completely different than what we see now when there was no lights. I mean, it's just the Milky Way was huge and everything was awesome. There was a lot of superstition, but at the same time, there was a lot of awe. So that experience of awe is really, really important. And so I talk about awe in nature, whether it's stuff from quantum physics or stuff from cosmology or just silly stuff about, did you know about prairie dogs, or did you know about when you sneeze, or things that yawn, just 5 minutes. Then I give people a 20-minute period of silence where they can listen to their own guided meditation, or they can just do whatever meditation they do, bring your own mantra or do
Mhm.
TM. And then it ends with a quote from a Stoic or Anais Nin, or, just some great wise person, um, Emily Dickinson, about life, about consciousness. So it's like 33 minutes. I do one in the morning and it gets replayed throughout the day. And I do one in the evening and it gets replayed throughout the day. I've been doing it for 5 years.
When you meditate, what time do you do it in the morning and what time do you do it in the evening?
I live in New York City, and I realized early on, Suze, that nothing that productive happens in New York City after 8 o'clock at night. I'm an early to bed guy. I'm like
Mhm.
early to bed, and I try not to do anything in the evening. I don't eat big dinners, so I go to bed early, and I get up at 4:30 or something like that. So I 4:30 or 5. So I've been in bed. It's not like I sleep fewer hours. I've just been in bed longer. I mean, I've been in bed enough time. And so I meditate first thing. And then in the afternoon, I find I have to do, even after all these years, the night before I look at my calendar, because I'm a busy guy like you and I look at my calendar and say, where's there 15, 20, 25-minute window. Oh, from 3:15 to 3:45, or from, oh, this is going to be crazy. I have to go to my sister's for lunch and with the family, so I'm going to do it at 12. Or I try not to do it before bed because it awakens. The TM is very enlivening. If I have to do it before bed, I do it shorter.
One of the things that you said 3 or 4 years ago that I still remember is your analogy about how the water is always choppy on the surface. And then you described meditation. I hope you remember this.
Oh, geez,
If
I
you
do.
could share this with the Unplug audience, not just this one, but any other beautiful analogies like that, because they are so sticky that you can never get them out of your head. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
have a
it's a
couple.
good
I have
thing.
a couple good ones.
Yeah, well,
So
that's
the analogy is of the ocean, and the ocean, a cross section of an ocean. It has choppy waves on the surface, and it's silent at its depth. And so, like that, the mind is choppy, turbulent. The monkey mind, the gotta. I like to call it the gotta mind. Gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta call him, gotta call her, gotta make a list, find a list, gotta get to bed, gotta all the gottas. And so, with all those gottas all the time, and it's a natural human desire to say, "Oh, I'd like some inner calm, some inner equanimity, just a bit." Is that too much to ask? Just a tad, just a little, just something. So, and that operative word there is inner. And the question is there such a thing as an inner? And if so, how do we get there? So enter the realm of meditation. When we started this conversation, you said, how is TM different from other forms of meditation? And largely speaking, according to brain research, there are three basic types of meditation. One is called focused attention, which is a concentration form of meditation. The mind is a monkey. You want to stop it from wandering. So you concentrate on your breath, or you concentrate on a thought or a point of your body. It's a concentration form. And when we do it, it creates something called gamma brain waves, which are 20 to 50 cycles or more per second, where your brain is working hard. And the hypothesis behind that is, okay, if you want to have a calm ocean. What disrupts a calm ocean? Waves. How do you make a calm ocean? Stop the waves, calm ocean. Like that, you want to have a calm mind. What disrupts a calm mind? Thoughts. Stop thoughts or minimize thoughts, you'll have a calm mind. So that's focused attention. Is it okay to go into all this stuff?
yes, yeah, that's great.
Okay, second approach is called open monitoring. And open monitoring, there are many mindfulness or body awareness or just techniques. And open monitoring says thoughts themselves, the monkey mind itself is not necessarily a disruptor of calm, but the content of thoughts can be a disruptor of calm. So if I have a thought about a guy named Joe and I don't really know anybody named Joe, whatever. But if I have a thought about Joe and 5 years ago, Joe done wrong. So what open monitoring does is it teaches me to the words are dispassionately observe my thoughts, my moods, my feelings, my behavior, just be a silent witness.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that, it creates something called many different things, but predominantly theta brainwaves, which are 4 to 8 cycles per second. And that's like onset of dreaming. You're following the content of thoughts. So those are two main types, and they're called cognitive approaches to meditation, dealing with your thoughts. The third is called self-transcending, and that's transcendental meditation. And that says thoughts are just like the waves are natural on the surface of the ocean, but there's a vertical dimension to the ocean, and it's quiet at its depth. Like that, we say the mind is turbulent on the surface, choppy waves, but we hypothesize that deep within you and me and everyone on this call and everyone in the world right now, there's a level where your mind is already calm and settled and peaceful and wide awake. We've lost access to it. I remember telling that to this Wall Street guy. I said, "What are you talking about? Calm level of the mind?" And I said, "You're a trader. people come to you, they give you all these ideas of what they think you should do, and they make perfectly good sense. And then you think, I'm going to do that. And then you get home at night and you're thinking quietly, settling down, and you go, I don't think I'm going to do that. Someone says, why? And you go, doesn't feel right. That's a quieter level of the mind. So the hypothesis, Suze, is that even deeper than that is this transcendent level of the mind, quiet, quiet. And so transcendental meditation gives access to that effortlessly. No amount of focusing or concentration or control, that just stops. You need innocence to access those deeper levels of yourself and effortlessness. And that's what the TM technique does. And
So,
and one last thing, that creates something called alpha 1 brainwaves, which are 8 to 10 cycles per second, and that's called a state of restful alertness. And that's where you're in a wonderful conversation with someone, really deep, and you're settled and you're following every word they're saying. That's restful alertness.
I'm experiencing restful alertness
I
right
am too.
now.
I am too.
That's great.
There's another thing. They also say that, you say we're on the same wavelength. Turns out brain research with fMRI shows that when people are in that state, that the brain waves, the term is brainwave synchrony, that my brain and your brain and the areas of brain are firing in the same places at the same time.
That's cool.
Also happens with music when you go to a concert and you hear someone, a band or a violinist, and you just lock in. That's that same brainwave synchrony.
So to clarify for our audience who likes to simplify everything, step one would be to bring your awareness to the mantra that you would give your client. Step two would be to just let it go and be in the moment of calm.
Yes, but it's more, and this is why it's taught individually, because everybody hears those words that you just said differently. And everybody has a question. Do you mean this? Do you mean that? Because while it's complete, this moment, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, when you're giving a person a mantra and then teaching them to think the mantra innocently, easily, effortlessly, and then how to come back when you had thoughts and how to come back to it and what to do. It's like this delicate thing. And then as a teacher, I know, oh, they got it. And they've got it for life pretty much. But there's that thing because everybody, and right at that moment, it's not in a book. Oh, now let me go here and find out what it says, or let me listen to this app. You have a human being saying, no, actually, yes, but try this or try that. So that's why that individual instruction. After that first day, it's possible to do it by remote or an app. And I don't even teach that by Zoom that first day. That's human to human.
And in your book, Strength and Stillness, do you talk? Actually, I've read your book.
Oh,
It was wonderful, but it's been a
story.
couple years. When did it come out?
Stories. 2018, and it came out again in 2023.
Okay. So for those of you who don't have his book, I would definitely buy it ASAP. But in your book, do you talk about this? I think you do.
Everything I'm talking about now? 100%. What I don't do, what I do is I answer the questions. I raise questions, answer the questions, give experiences, talk about the data, and then talk a lot about the work that the David Lynch Foundation is doing with women survivors of domestic violence and, veterans and police and firefighters and inner city school kids. And then you have all the information you need to make a decision. Do I want to learn this? And it's more of an investment of time, some resources, but time, than just learning something remote. And again, there's a lot of wonderful stuff, which I've even used myself, that's offered remote. But I always say, add this to that, add this experience to that.
It's amazing how people who come and learn from you end up using their mantra morning and afternoon, evening, every single day for 20 years, 25 years, 26 years, even longer. And they never skip it. What do you say?
You live in LA, right? I come to LA if you want. I'll teach you sometime if you ever wanted to learn.
Are you kidding me? I would love that.
Yeah, I'd love to teach you.
Learning from Bob Roth.
No, just it's not any teacher. I have to tell you,
No,
it's
you would be the
time.
teacher I would want to learn from. Just FYI. But that's exciting.
People do it because it's sumptuously easy, effortless, satisfying, forgiving, non-judgmental. People get frustrated. Like sometimes I'll teach people who have the best people to teach are the 10-year-old kid in the Bronx who's never heard of meditation. So they come to it, as they say in Zen, with a completely beginner's mind. No, not bringing any agenda, any expectations, just, okay, I don't know what this crazy thing is this guy's teaching me, but my teacher says I should, my school teacher says I should learn it. And it's because there's an innocence there. But it's fine. Anybody can learn it in an hour and 15 minutes, but it's so, they all say, really? It's that easy? It's that forgiving? And you say, thoughts are, no, I'm sorry, I had so many thoughts. That's okay. Because in TM, if you want to use the example of a cross-section of an ocean, we're not stopping thoughts. We're not suppressing thoughts or anything. We're allowing the active, noisy, thinking mind to just sink down, settle down.
Mm-hmm.
And when the mind settles down, the body gains that state of rest deeper than sleep. So you could have the same thoughts, Suze, deep in meditation that you have out of meditation. But the difference is, am I thinking them up here where my mind is heated? Like you go to a park and you see a little kid and you say, ooh, that little kid is a hothead. He's boiling over with rage. That's here. But we also have the statement, cooler minds will prevail. Cool, calm, and collected. That's here. And so we're just setting up the experience so you don't have to get rid of thoughts. As a matter of fact, trying to push out thoughts is not only unnecessary, it's a waste of time. So they like it. Who are the people that we both know? Or were you just saying that?
Oh, who have
That we
learned
both,
TM?
who, TM,
Oh,
yeah,
oh my gosh. The list is endless, but
whatever.
I don't know if they would want me to be telling
Okay,
anyone.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But I'll tell you at the end of this.
Okay,
So, the Soul Cycle girls from way back when.
great. Yeah, yeah,
Like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Love them, love them, love them.
I love them too. I really do. So, okay, lost my train of thought.
And at the end, before we end, I have some questions for you. We're going to turn
sure.
the tables. I'm going to interview you.
I would love to.
Okay.
Bob, can you guide us through a silent meditation, like a little quickie for all the TM users who are on the Unplug app?
Say it again.
So we want to do a short little
Can I say it again?
bring your own mantra
Okay.
meditation for our TM people. And for those of people who don't have a mantra, maybe is there a trial or
Just,
not?
well, you can do any number of things. You can do, it's really
I
interesting.
have my mantra.
Research coming out. Yeah. So research is coming out that breathing is actually incredibly powerful, breath work. So we could take this 3-5 minutes, just do, because mantra, making one up, it may be good, it may not be good, it may be so, and what do I do with it? And so just even breathing, where you just, this nasal breathing, where you breathe in through your nose, fill up your belly, bring it up into your chest and your forehead, hold it, and then exhale through your mouth, pursed lips, and then hold it, and then bring back in through your nose, up into your forehead. That has a powerful effect because there's something called the vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve starts at the brainstem, and it controls your breathing, your heartbeat, your digestion. This one nerve. And so when we're stressed, when we're vermished, then the vagus nerve is off, out of sync. And just simple breathing, very powerful to help reboot and bring the vagus nerve back in alignment. And so I would just say for this time, just again, you breathe in through your nose.
Well, let's begin it by just a classic. This is our quick little 5-minute.
All right, and I'll keep the time. I'll keep the time. So those of you who do have some mantra meditation, you know what to do for these 5 minutes. Those of you who do transcendental meditation, we know that it's simple and effortless and no strain. And for those of you who don't have anything, I want you to breathe in through your nose gently, fill up your stomach, up into your chest, your forehead, hold it for a couple seconds, and then out through your pursed lips, gently, slowly. When it's all out, hold it for a few seconds, and then do it again, but always easy. Don't control the mind, think about anything you want, and I'm going to time it. So let's close our eyes and let's do our meditation. Keep your eyes closed. Stop your practice. Sit quietly for about a minute. You come out slowly. I'll tell you when to open your eyes. All right, let's open the eyes. And we'll just sit quietly here. That was nice, wasn't it?
It felt amazing. What an
Yeah,
honor
really
to
nice.
get quiet with you and to spend this time with you. I know that we only had an allotted amount of time, but I could actually talk to you forever. I still have a million questions. If you ever want to do another session, I would love
I
that.
do, but I'd also like to turn the tables and I'd like to interview you for a session and find
Wow.
out how you got here and what you're doing and your path and all that stuff. I think people would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. So I'd like to do more.
Okay, anytime. Um, Bob, for those of you who are just experiencing Bob Roth for the first time, and now I'm also thinking about I'll tell you after we end the recording some celebrities that I know who you've taught meditation, but pretty much everybody who I ever ask when they say I'm a TM meditator, and my friends from New York, like Robin Roberts and people like that will always mention your name. So I'm like, did Bob teach you? And they say yes.
But
So
I would like to say something here. The lovely thing is, really truly, is that the way Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was the science, he was a physicist and then meditation great teacher, set it up is that anybody who's certified can teach this. My teacher, Sylvia Schmidt, I I hardly, I liked her, but I hardly saw her. And it's 55 years later, I'm doing it. So that's the beautiful thing, the connection with someone like you or me, or the friendship. But the meditation, any place that offers a certified teacher, fortunately, you can have that same access.
I just have three more little questions. One is, do you think it needs to be long to be effective? Do you think you need,
What?
how long does it need to be effective?
How much time in each meditation?
Hmm. In your
I
opinion?
think 10 minutes. I mean, that's a minimum, 10 minutes. But I always say there's 1,440 minutes in a day. If we don't have just, 10, 15, 20 minutes for ourselves,
Hmm.
then we may need to reprioritize because the world is not getting any less crazy and change becomes within health. It's care is not just a buzzword, it's true. So some of the busiest people I know do 20 minutes twice a day because they just prioritize it. But 10 minutes,
Do you believe that you need to sit like this in lotus for it to be effective?
no, not at all. Not at all. But from my own experience, from the experience of other people who have been doing it, transcendence to transcend, you go beyond the body, even breath. People say, how's this different from breath work? And I said, that's great. Breath is an interface between mind and body. But when you dive within to that deepest level, you've left the body and breath way, way behind. It's way up there. And so no, you don't have to sit comfortably. You want to sit in a way where you're not on, oh, my knee is killing me, but I've got another 45 minutes, or oh my, no, just sit up comfortably.
Bob, thank you
You
so
have one more
much.
question. Don't we have one more? Don't I
My
get one more
my
bonus
last
question?
question was, how do people get in touch with you?
I'm going to give you my personal email
Okay.
address. So you can email me directly. And if you're interested in more, or if you want to know where there's a teacher in your area, I will curate the teacher for you. And it's Bob, B-O-B, at davidlynchfoundation.org. davidlynchfoundation.org.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the Unplug audience?
Okay, you can't uh, respond other than I think you're a real blessing. I think the work that you do and who you are and the authenticity with which you live your life and when you are with people is rare and a blessing. And the world is fortunate to have Suze here. Honestly, I feel that moves me deeply.
Thank you.